How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. This is the first Mentor Monday of the new year. It's 2026. Welcome, everybody. I haven't seen you since last year. Hasn't that joke gotten kind of old? If you would, jump inside of the chat and let us know that you're here. The way that we always love to start these is to connect with you. We have a forward mission statement at Life Coach Training Institute in case you've never joined us for one of these. And it is proficient coaches, thriving practices. Everything that we do is under you developing coaching proficiency. We want you to have extraordinary results with your clients. The other side, though, is incredibly important, and pretty much no coach training school ever talks about it because they're not particularly good about it, and it's showing you how to get clients. We want you to have a thriving coaching practice. Leave that 9 to 5. Do more of what you're passionate about, of what you're actually made for, not just feeling like you're punching in the clock. I actually have an objective to make it where you never work again, in the sense that if you're doing what you love and you're doing what you are made to do and living in your purpose, you'll never work another day of your life. You'll just be getting paid to do what you love. So if you would, as you're jumping inside of the chat, do me a huge favor and post who it is that you serve. If you've got a link to your website, if you've got a link to social media, we would love to have that. And let me say hello to a couple of people who are saying hello to me. That's CJ, who's joining us from Los Angeles. Unica, I hope I'm pronouncing that accurately. From I don't know, from California. Very good. Karen's joining us from Georgia. Her website is mydivinefreedom.com. You can see that. I'll leave that a second if anybody sees it and they want to go there. Chuck, who's saying hello. Good to see you, Chuck. And Kimberly, who's joining us from Chicago. If you're just making it in, please let us know where you are joining us from, what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. This is a new series that we started last week that'll carry us through the month. But what I would love for you to do is to post what clients that you serve, who it is that you're passionate about helping, what problems that you help people solve. If you've got a link to your social media or your website, put them in there. I will say this, there's been a change on Google over the last 3 months, particularly, where Google's actually ranking a lot of things with videos. And so I've actually tested this, that your comments are actually showing up in Google search results. So it's really beneficial from a search engine optimization that if you do have a website or social media, you post it in there, because it helps Google rank you and connect you with coaching and a lot of other kinds of things. So it's a good thing to do. I'm not just telling you that. It's going to be a benefit for you as well. Karen says, as of January, my website is live. Congratulations on that. If you guys would, keep posting inside of the chat, letting me know that you are here. And feel free, again, if you're looking for clients, if you want to talk about who your ideal client is, a link to your website or whatever, that would be amazing. So let's jump over to what we're talking about tonight. And last week, we started in this series called Power Play. And before we jump into the information big time, what I want you to do is that if you want the slides, because everything that I put on the screen that has the words on it are actually in the slides. So text the keyword slides. Don't put other words in it, just the keyword slides to the number 833-258-7547. What that'll do is it'll give you a direct link. You go on the webpage, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you click that beautiful green button, and it will give you a PDF of all the slides that we're talking about. It always includes tools or anything else that we are sharing in there. So I'll give you guys just a second to be able to do that. And I'll also take a second to say hello to a couple of people. Sharon, who's joining us from Jacksonville. She said, that's my absolute goal. Never work again and coach my way to stress-free, happy work, not work life. I agree. I quit working many years ago. I'm very privileged to say that. And I say that because it is amazing. I will say that there is a little bit of, what's going to happen, right? When you take that leap. And then I've never looked back ever since. I never regretted and have never desired a day to go back to the 9 to 5 after all of those other things, So yes. All right. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to jump in, folks. Again, if you want those slides, text the keyword slides to 833-258-7547. We're following up last week of Power Play with indecision is actually a decision. And so here's what we're going to do. And I'll let Dan get his plug really quick. Dan from Huntingtonburg, Indiana. Elevation Life Coaching for Men. .com. Work-life balance coach, excited about growing my coaching business in 2026. That's awesome. So let me recap just a couple of things from last week in case you weren't here and just to remind you where we left off. One of the things that I said last week is that you can trace your life actually back to a few moments. And if you think about your life right now, where you live right now came from one choice. Who you built your life with. We're talking about romance. We're talking about family, all those other things. Your friends, who you built life with, who you're with now came from a choice. The work that you are doing presently actually came to a choice. We can trace it back to one decision. And it's a single moment. So what happened is that there was a moment and you made a decision, and the impact of that and the momentum of that actually created where we are today. And here's the hard truth is that whether we like it or not, the life that we live is actually the one that we have chosen. And I'll say this, like I said, we don't believe that anybody in the room is victims. We believe that everybody, and I don't believe that anybody in the room is a victim of circumstance. I believe that we still have free agency and we still have the power of choice. If we have a mind to think enough about these things, then we can actually take responsibility. And not that everything that has happened in our life was our choice, but the way that we've responded to it is absolutely part of the power and the nature of who we are as human beings. Is that a dog doesn't have an option to think differently, to turn over a new leaf, to change a career or anything else. A dog's a dog. They're not thinking outside themselves. They're just trying to eat and sleep and get through their day, and nothing radically changes. As a human being, we can actually think about our life. We can think about what we want, and that we can actually, because in the same way that we got here through a process of choices, we can also say that to get to some place new means that there is a process of choices that begins with one choice that gets us to that new place. I also said this last week, is that it also means that if you chose the life that you have right now, it was a process of a choice that created momentum. It also means that you have the power to change it. And I believe that every person who's listening to this right now, watching this, you have the power to change your life through a decision. A moment only becomes defining when a choice is made. And a moment becomes transformative and defining because there was something that was actually decided in the moment. Because all day long today, there were a lot of moments, but it doesn't mean that every one of those moments, there was a choice that completely changed your life. Because you know what happens? We make the same choices over and over again. And not every choice that was made even today was a defining moment. It was just a combination of choices: what you ate, what you drank, what time you took a shower, or if you took a shower at all, but possibly the choice to log on tonight could change something, but we'll have to see on that, right? That's why two people can stand in the same moment. One chooses, one does not. 10 years later, you see people whose lives look very different. I'll give you a quick example of this. Years ago, I was reading about something, an opportunity to invest in something, and I didn't have a whole lot of money. I basically had my first amount of side money after I'd been working as a coach and everything else. But I didn't know, I was terrified. I was still working my full-time job and working as a coach part-time. And I had this certain amount of money, and I've been researching this thing, but I just didn't understand it enough, and I was terrified. And I was talking to the guy who worked in the office next to me, literally across the way. And I was like, man, I'm looking into this thing. I just don't know what to do or whatever. And I have $1,000 that I could invest, but I don't understand it enough or whatever. And he's like, well, what is it? And I told him, and he Googles and he researches for a little bit. And he was just like, well, what is it? And I said, well, it's called Bitcoin. And at the time, it was around $200, something like that. So he didn't have any money. This guy had 5 kids. He was barely getting by. He wasn't making any more money than I was at that work. And I'd started my coaching business, so I was making some money. So what he did is that he typed in on his computer and $200, it may not even been $200 or whatever. It was pretty cheap. But he goes in there and he didn't have any money, but he put $60 in, something like that. So he buys at least a portion of a Bitcoin. And me at the time, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I just can't make this decision or whatever, and well, the rest is history, right? His life looks really different right now, at least with that one investment for sure. Because he at least with $60, something like that, he's at least what made $25,000 off of $60, something like that. And it's like compared to me, who made $0 off of Bitcoin and all those ways. See, but it was a decision. It was a moment. And, that moment passed. As a matter of fact, it was so volatile back there in those days. I remember looking at it some months later and it had dropped to like really bad. And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't put any money in this, but I could have put $10 in. I could have put $20 in. I could have put $50. I didn't have to put $1,000, but I talked myself out of a moment that really could have changed everything, especially for my life back then. I mean, what? If I had a handful of them, what's that? 500,000, $500,000. It's crazy. But see, that's the difference. See, choice actually is what your power play is, because everybody here has power because you have the power of choice. That means that right now, everybody who's sitting here has the ability to choose differently. At any given moment, you can choose differently, not simply differently, because it's not just simply differently. I'm talking about a meaningful difference. You can think right now, there is something that you would do that would make a meaningful difference in your life. One of the things I asked you last week, look at your family, look at your career, look at your finances, look at your health, look at any of those things. Right now, all of us know that there is one decision that we've probably avoided, but we know would make a meaningful difference in our life, because not all choices are the same. Like I said earlier today, I had lunch and it was a last minute thought about what I was going to have for lunch. And the thing is that that lunch was not going to make a meaningful difference in my life. It didn't really matter. I didn't plan it or anything else. We keep making decisions that keep getting us the same life. They're not meaningful decisions, but there are some decisions that we know, and maybe we're afraid of them, but those are the decisions that, because we can project into the future, and we know that the impact of that choice really would give us a different life than what we have right now. And you can do it whenever you want, which means any moment can actually be life-changing based on the choice that you make. But what we're talking about this week is the fact that indecision is a decision. Not deciding does not pause the process. So last week, some of you heard week 1 and you're like, yeah, I'm excited. And maybe you're getting excited again because we're talking about it. But you know what you didn't do? You didn't make a decision. So your life's not really any different than it was last week. It could have been. Some of you might have. Because on any given week, I see a lot of people sign up for our programs, complete certification. I mean, literally in any given day, probably about 1,000 coaches going through our program, something like that. We're the largest life coach training program in North America. So some people are making that decision, and it's an incredible decision towards things. But it is in a moment that you make a decision. And a lot of times people will sit around with those kinds of decisions and they will think about it and they'll evaluate it for days, months, years, maybe even decades. You lost another week. We're a week into January already. We already burned through 2025 with some of the things that were alive in our heart. And we knew the decision that if I projected in the future would change everything. You know how it would change everything? Because you could project in the future and you can sit here and say, like Dan, who's sitting here right now, Dan can say, this is me in the future, fully satisfied and living into my purpose and doing meaningful work, living into fullness. He can project and his decisions moving him towards there, him putting his website up and going and all those other things that you see on there. Karen on here doing the exact same thing. Who was it? It was Sharon who's talking about launching in March. What you're able to do is to say this thing is going to be done. But see, the reality is that there are some people last week who heard me talking, and you could think of what that meaningful decision was, but you didn't actually make a decision. Well, here's the reality: is that you actually did make a decision last week. Indecision is a decision because the process keeps going. There's a momentum from indecision. Indecision, you know what it allows to happen? It allows the existing patterns to decide for you. So you keep having a momentum. Like if I'm living right now and I don't have the marriage that I want to have, if I don't have the intimacy with my family that I want to have, if I don't have the relationship with my kids, if I don't have friends, if I don't have the career, if I don't have the money, if I'm not living where, whatever your want is, your choice is keeping you getting what you don't want, because indecision lets the patterns and lets that momentum continue to bear fruit. And so indecision actually is a decision. But here's the thing, is that what you focus on, what things mean, and what you do are still being decided even when you hesitate. And when those decisions are made habitually, the same outcomes repeat. So it's very predictable to say, because here's what I'll say. It's not all about money, but a lot of people are making at least a significant portion of their career decision has to do with money. Most people are making the exact same money they were making 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And I will say this, within about 10%. And if you're not at least making 20% minimum than what you were making 10 years ago, then you've been losing money. And so the thing is like, well, I'm just saying safe because I keep making the decision. But what people don't understand with inflation and a lot of other kinds of things is that they're actually making less money, even though they are getting raises every year is the way that they're going. Because the thing is that the decisions that you make keep repeating themselves as far as the outcome. So what do we need? A meaningful decision that has impact, that actually brings real change in our life. Otherwise, we'll keep having the same things. Indecision doesn't actually delay a result in your life. It's actually producing a result right now. So you sitting around and thinking, well, maybe later, maybe when things get a little bit better, when things get uncertain, a little more certain, like whatever your reasoning is for not pulling the trigger on getting trained and certified and starting your business and helping people transform their lives, it's not delaying that result. It's actually producing a result right now. And it's a result of apathy, as I talked about, passivity. It's producing a result of lack of passion, lack of meaning, lack of purpose. There's some results that you will never see, which is the people's lives that you are meant to impact in this given moment. And those are the things that I think about, is that, what most people will not do, and what most people will do in their life, the most evil thing that people will do is not actually doing evil, but it's the good that they were meant to do. Because when you know that there's good that you're supposed to do and you're not, what does that actually mean when there's a gift to be given to the world and I'm withholding it because of fear? So how do we do this? I want to give you three things. There's three decisions that I want to walk you through tonight. That first decision is what you focus on. Because while you hesitate, your focus usually lands on something. Like for this future thing, it's you're focusing on what it costs you. And that can be any number of things. It's not just simply money. You're focusing on timing. You're focusing on, oh, well, there's so much risk, because that's what the focus is on. And see, what happens is that what you focus on when you're sitting around replaying worst case scenarios, what you're doing is that you're training your brain to fear, and you're training your brain. And this is what we've learned in neuroscience. You will train your brain for hesitation. And if you train your brain for hesitation, it actually strips your confidence away. So here's the thing that I want you to understand is happening in your brain. For those of you who got on our website and you created an account, and maybe you're in the free course and you didn't even finish that, your hesitation for how long ago that was, every day, because it's creating a momentum. It's creating a momentum of building up more fear. You're trusting yourself less every day, and you're training your brain that you don't trust yourself and this is not possible. And what'll end up happening is that the longer you go, and this happens with coaches who get trained and certified as well, is that the longer they wait to pull the trigger on something, the more they are training themselves to believe, I don't have what it takes. And their subconscious is programming everything behind the scenes. See, when you focus even on readiness, it keeps you stuck in preparation instead of actually giving you direction. So indecision will look like a lot of things. You'll create activities like endless research. You'll start comparing yourself. You will second guess yourself all the way to the core until you have no confidence. Now, decision 2 is making a decision about what you decide everything means. And one of the things that I teach our coaches about is that belief is meaning. And so really what a belief is in terms of what you really believe, not what you believe here. Because there's a lot of things that we believe right here. And I'm trying to speak to your core, because what you believe here intellectually is not what's actually in action. You have a couple of different things that are going on. You have this thing that we're speaking to in the prefrontal cortex, but I'm going to try to go a little bit deeper if I can. But you're going to have to entertain this. If you wonder why I have an intellectual thought that, oh, this makes a lot of sense and I'm going to do it, but something keeps me from being able to move forward, it's because you have a subconscious and you actually have a limbic system that is actually making choices for you based on how you feel. And if you feel safe and if it feels like risk, then it won't allow you to go. So I can't talk you into stuff intellectually because it already makes sense. You need to make more money. You want to live into purpose. All of these other kinds of things. All of that stuff makes sense. See, what happens is that the longer that you hesitate, the more that you're actually allowing this thing internally and the subconscious to continue to direct traffic. And here's what I will tell you. It's not going to make sense to this until you actually create some new movement in your life that reprograms this to tell you you're not going to die from this. You're not going to lose everything. Listen, I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow. I didn't do that. When I got trained and certified as a coach, I was flat broke. I was pretty much in the minus. We had nothing. And I had a 400 credit score. So I couldn't do anything to really invest in my business except go to the library and start reading some business books because I didn't have any money to do anything. And but I was willing to make some decisions that, if you want to say, were low risk decisions, and I began to do that, which is building a website and going and joining a business networking group and some of those other things. See, the thing is that I'm not telling you to completely throw yourself out there and be like, I'm quitting tomorrow or whatever. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you, let's keep this limbic system out of fight or flight. But let's make some purposeful decisions, because paying $200 to get trained and certified is not going to break you in your life. It's not going to hurt you for the rest of your life. You're not going to hemorrhage for this for the rest of your life. We're very committed. I'm very sensitive to that. It's one of the reasons why we don't have sales commissions, because all the other programs cost thousands of dollars because half of your tuition's going to a sales team. I'm not going to do that because I was that person. I can only bring it to you so much. You know, it's the old saying is that you can bring a horse to water, but it does not mean that they are going to drink. I can only make it as safe as I can possibly make it. There has to be an executive decision. You have free agency. And so what happens is that you're programming yourself. And so I need more time. What is happening on an internal basis is that you're telling yourself, I don't really trust myself. I'm being responsible, but what it really means is that you're actually avoiding the risk that you need to take. The same opportunity from one person to the next can mean growth, or it can mean danger, depending on how you interpret it. And I understand. We had lost everything, and I was fresh from trauma of losing everything and trying to stabilize our life. So everything that looked like doing something that seemed uncertain felt like a risk. And me internally is going crazy because it's interpreting doing something new and having to go find clients and all this other stuff as a threat. Like, Paul, you've never done sales before in your life, at least not successfully. You tried that in college. And it was all this list of different kinds of things. Paul, it's a recession. and all kinds of different things that I was hearing back then. And it was just like, it was a terrible time and it didn't make any kind of logical sense. But the reality is that I couldn't stay where I was and I needed to make a decision. So you know what you do? You make a decision in spite of, there's certain parts that you can make a decision that doesn't make the limbic system go all crazy and shut you down. But it does mean that you have to make a decision and you reteach and you reformat the program so that it can begin to see that this is not so risky and it's not so painful. As a matter of fact, it's not even that hard. Starting a coaching practice is not the hardest thing to do in the world. And it's not like you're going to be spending thousands of dollars before you even get a client. See, the same opportunity can mean growth or danger depending on how you're interpreting it. Indecision survives by giving hesitation a meaning that, well, maybe you're just being wise. Maybe this, and we'd like to talk ourselves into thinking, well, this is wise and the timing's not good or whatever. Well, we have to turn our decision into action. So here's how we're going to do that. Did I get to 3? I don't have 3. Oh, man. Forgive me, folks. I don't know where it went, but I'm just going to read it before we get over there, okay? Because I don't have my, forgive me. I don't think I've ever done this before. I've definitely messed up my slides before, but I need my number 3 to help you. My number 3 is this. Number 3, you have to actually do something. It's about what you do. And what happens is that putting off a decision will actually keep your daily routines exactly the same in your life. Avoiding the step is always going to be reinforcing that belief that you're not ready. And so what happens is that weeks turn into months without anything new happening, and indecision completes the cycle by choosing inaction in your life. How do we actually move from theory into action? Well, you need to go back. We talked about it last week. Go back to what you named last week. What one action, because we can all think of it even right now in this moment, what is one action that would have the most meaningful impact in your life? So think about it, with your family, with your wife, with your finances, with your career, with your fill in the blank, with your spirituality, with your faith, whatever it is, with your health. There is one thing right now that you've probably been avoiding that seems uncomfortable, that makes you wonder if you can do it, whatever it is. There's one decision that you know that if you did make it, it would make the impact and it would create a momentum towards a life that you want. What is that one decision? You've got that? Well, what do you have to do? Is that you have to take the step that removes ambiguity, not the one that actually feels safest. So that when I say that, it means that you are making a certain step and a bold step towards your future, because it actually takes something bold that would actually create impact. Action is actually what turns a moment into momentum. And that's what you have to do to make that shift. One of the newest things that we're doing at Life Coach Training Institute, and what we did last year, is that I wrote this program called the 30-Day Coaching Practice Fast Track. Now, what is Fast Track? What I really wanted to do is that I wanted to, and this is what I've always tried to do for coaches. I've tried to take away your disqualifiers and take away your objections. The disqualifiers that are like, oh, this is too expensive and this doesn't work in my schedule or whatever. We did that with coach training, over 10 years ago. We did it back in 2014 and we changed the game in the coaching world. There's nobody like us in the industry. And we changed the game and we've trained and certified more coaches than anybody else. Now, we did that, but what I really wanted to do past that, because what actually got me into helping coaches, is because coaches didn't really know how to go get their first client. They're walking around with a very expensive piece of paper and they're like, well, now what? Did they think that they're just going to hold up a certificate on the street and they were going to suddenly get clients? It's not the way that it works. So what do you do? Well, what I did last year is I simplified the entire process. And what I did is I wrote an entire program so that you know every day what you're supposed to be doing to launch your practice. Now, I've designed it so that you can launch your practice in 30 days so that you know every day. Now, here's the thing. If you don't get something done, if there's a step that you weren't able to take care of 1 week or whatever, well, you're not done in 30 days in the sense of, well, it doesn't mean you don't have access. I'm going to give you the program for a year. And what'll happen is that you have it for a year. And let's say it takes you 60 days. Well, it's better than it taking like 700 days because you're sitting there for 2 years wondering what you're going to do. And you're losing faith every day of your life and creating more unbelief. Here's what 30-day fast track actually includes. 30-day fast track, I give you a 65-page guide. It's in a PDF. And it is a launch guide, but I have videos that walk you through every part of it. What I've done is I've went ahead and I've created templates. I've created checklists. You have access to coaching agreements, all of those other things. We start at the top by helping you clarify what your coaching niche is. And then we go from there and help you move into your offers and your launch strategy. We show you everything. How to build a lead magnet that actually attracts clients. How do you create, and we have a coaching offer builder. And it's going to show you how to create an entry-level, easy yes offer with your clients, a group coaching offer, a VIP coaching offer. We also, on top of that, give you the essential guide to group coaching. I tell our coaches all the time, it's not about just simply one-on-one coaching. That's one way, but who's got time to try to coach 30 or 40 people and you're working full-time? So what you need is multiple streams of income. I learned this really early as a coach because I only had so much capacity to work with people and I only had so much time. And what you can find is that if you create other streams of income, like group coaching, I can bring somebody in at a lower cost offer, we'd say it's mid-tier or a low risk offer. And what happens is that because I'm coaching people in a group, I'm actually making hundreds of dollars per hour, and I can always upgrade them to VIP later. But it gives them an easy yes to move towards working with you so that you're not just blowing them out of the water with an hourly coaching fee that's hundreds of dollars or something like that. We give you the essential guide to group coaching. We give you group coaching training videos, and I give you a group coaching program creation guide. Not only that, inside of this program, I show you the nuts and bolts of a high converting website. I give you a wireframe. I give you tons of examples. I give you email writing tools that shows you how to write an email list that actually gets opened, that actually converts to clients. And they're proven samples. I give you a launch planner, bonus tools and videos. There's several bonus tools and several bonus videos that you're going to get. This is a very high value program. It's worth thousands of dollars. I'm going to give it to you for $195. Now, for those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach yet, I'm going to give you $100 off in the bundle. So our life coach certification course is normally $195. You can get this for $295. This is about $10,000 worth of value, and it works. Anybody who knows me, you need to know this, is that if you ever get trained by a coaching school, ask that coach who's training you, how successful have you been in your business? And ask for numbers. Actually ask them, did you make money as a coach or are you just a trainer? Because there's a lot of people who are training coaches that are in the lowest level of credentialing because they've done the bare minimum to actually become a coach that can train people. That's a dirty secret in the industry. You need to know that I've hit multi six figures. And I'm only telling you that not because I'm prideful, because you need to know that who you're learning from has actually been successful. Because there's a lot of people giving strategies out there that don't work because they've never worked for them. And so the links to these programs are inside the description of the video, just so that you know. The Life Coach Certification course, it is a 7-module course. It's self-paced with optional live Tuesday night coach training. So all these core modules that you see here, where we go through foundations of coaching, we show you how coaching has its own lane versus other kinds of helping roles. We give you the nuts and bolts of a dynamic coaching session. You will watch one of those, and I'll bring you piece by piece so you understand what's actually included in a coaching session. We have 2 sessions on how to listen on a transformational level. Then we start going into tools, how to ask powerful questions, how to help your clients set goals, and accountability. That's how you help them get extraordinary results. And session 7 alone is worth thousands of dollars. I show you the first starts of how to establish a growing coaching practice. This also includes live coaching practice with feedback. We do that about every 3 or 4 weeks. And it also includes live Q&As each week on Tuesday nights. That's 30 hours of training just in that course. That includes your live calls, Q&As, and role playing. You can also connect with other coaches. It also includes your onboarding documents. We give you an editable, brandable welcome pack, so you can have all of your onboarding documents to begin working with clients. You're going to get a coaching tool starter pack. You're going to get a free listing on our live coach directory, livecoachmatch.com, and obviously you'll get a certificate as well. It's a $3,500 value that allows you to get coaching mastery through a fully accredited program. It's only $195. Again, if you do the bundle with what we were talking about a little while ago, it's only $295 if you want to bundle it with 30-day coaching practice fast track. For those of you who are looking for an advanced Christian coach certification, our next cohort of Masters Academy is coming up on January 22nd. It is 6 weeks. There is nothing like Masters Academy in the industry. Every other Christian life coach certification that is out there kind of use the same models and methods. And basically what it is it's the same old coaching models, and they just call it Christian. I guess it means that you pray before your session. And I'll tell you this, is that that's not what Christian coaching is at all. It's actually a very intuitive process where we're listening on 2 levels. We're listening on a high spiritual level, intuitively with our clients, but we're also listening to the very soul of our clients. And what I'll tell you is that the coaches who have gone through this program are seeing dynamic breakthroughs with their clients that they've never seen before. This is also an advanced certification. So you do need to have your basic coaching credential out of the way so that you know what coaching is, because we're not going to go back to it. We're going to just jump into advanced coaching because it's a completely different model that I call the IIPP transformational coaching model. Now, you can bundle this if you do not have your basic credential out of the way, and you can start immediately. So what's included? Well, Masters Academy is going to include 6 weekly live sessions. You're going to be working with other coaches who are part of the program. There's a Christian coaching community that is part of this, and you're going to earn an advanced CPC certification. That's a certified professional coach, or you can say certified professional Christian coach. Along with this, you're going to get a lot of tools. There's over 60 pages of tools and questions. We're also adding a couple of new tools for this particular cohort. So it also means that you can come back in the future, you can audit, and you're always going to have access to the latest version of the training. And that's what that actually looks like. It's only $395 if you're an alumni or already have a basic coaching credential, but it is $495 to bundle. That means that you are able to get 2 different credentials in this program, CLC and CPC. And again, if you've got your basic credential out of the way, then just enroll. There is a payment plan at $77 a month if you can't come out of pocket, but you do have better savings if you just pay upfront, because we want to reward you for investing in yourself. Well, that's coming up January 22nd. There is our next one-day accelerator. I didn't talk about it or have a slide for it. That's coming up on the 24th of this month that allows you to get your basic credential out of the way, at least your basic training out of the way in a single day. But that's that. And sorry again for the mess up on the slides. You guys are missing that. What we'll try to do is get it fixed. And if you guys want to re-download the slides or whatever, or if you're watching this on replay, the slides are probably already fixed, so you can just go ahead and get that. But listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Let me show a couple of things on here. Betty from Wisconsin, BettyMagzum.com, career business coach. Awesome. And Jacob joining us from South Africa. Good to see you, Jacob. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put all of this stuff on replay so that people can watch it in the future. If you got here late, you can watch it again. But listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Happy New Year. Let's change the world this year. Have a great one. Take care.